So this morning, we begin with the Gospel of John. You might be thinking, that's unusual. She doesn't always do that. It's powerful. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. For those of you who've been in my classes, or even Sunday mornings, know how I feel about that passage. That this is the greatest commandment, direction, guidance, lesson, that the one we call our elder brother, and who shows us the way, modeled for us in the way he lived and moved and had his being. Love one another. It's what we're here to do. All of us, that's our main heading of our job description. Love one another. So today we're talking about the things we do for love. The things we do for love. And I made an invitation to members of the community to bring in some flyers, whatever you might have, about nonprofits, organizations that you serve, places that you volunteer, other organizations that are near and dear to your heart, things you do for love. And I saw some brochures back there this morning. I'd like to make this an annual event, something that we do every year where we share with our congregation. Maybe some of you will even be willing to talk about it a little bit. Share where our heart goes. So I was talking to some other Unity ministers about this. I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. And we share ideas, and most of them thought this was a fantastic idea. They were putting it on their calendar for next year, going to do it. And there were a couple that had some reservations. They said, but if your congregation gives their time, talent, and treasure to another organization, they will give less to the church. We know there is more than enough, that there is more than enough time, talent, and treasure to do those things in this world that we came here to do. I also said, and my congregation knows the difference between tithing and charity. Tithing, as we talk about, tithe actually means 10%, and we know that that's a path, a journey for folks to get there. We honor, we say it every week, we honor wherever you are in your intentional giving. And we tithe, or we give what we can to where we're spiritually fed, where we're nourished. You hear us each week talk, or I guess we do it once a month, we give a tithe to a New Thought musician because they have spiritually fed us. I love tithing to people that don't expect it. I've been the recipient of tithes out of the blue. It's a wonderful thing that we do. Wherever we're spiritually fed, we give of our time, talent, and treasure, because we want that person or that organization or that church community to continue to do whatever they're doing so that other people can be blessed as well. And we want to participate. This is paramount. We want to participate in the law of circulation, of giving and receiving, to be in that flow, because when we hold back, when we're holding our time, our talent, and our treasures, we're not in the flow. How can we receive if we don't step into this delightful flow of giving and receiving? And with that, from the overflow, because we are abundant, we are abundantly blessed, and so we bless abundantly, from that overflow we can also give to other organizations. Now, I've been told that a lot of organizations in Key West are very well funded. All right, that's great. They still need you. They need your hands and feet. They need your volunteer hours. They need your ideas, your skills, your talents that only you have. And so it's very worthwhile to be with organizations that are doing something that's meaningful to you. Even if they don't need your money, they need you. They absolutely need you. And that's such a beautiful thing, the things that we do for love. So this week I had the opportunity to think a lot about what do I do for love? What are some of the things I do for love? And one afternoon I was leaving the church, heading back to my lodging, and I walked around the church out here, and I'm talking to my older daughter on the phone, Lindsay, who lives in Clearwater. And while I'm talking to her, I noticed that right on the corner, in the grass, up by the bushes, are 2 beer bottles. Now, I knew they hadn't been there long, because Robin and Kevin had been here, and some other people had been here, and that would not be there. But because I'm on the phone with my daughter, I didn't have time to think about, oh, this is disgusting. Who did this? I bet they're watching me right now to see if I'm going to pick it up. I didn't think about that because I'm talking to Lindsay. So in my bag, I have a grocery bag. I'm talking to her. I get the grocery bag out. I pick up the beer bottles. There's a garbage can right over there, right at the end. They hadn't brought those in yet. Put it in the trash and keep going. I'm so glad I didn't have time to be disgusted by that. So glad. So what was the impetus for doing that? Absolutely love. I love my church community. I love and respect my church property. I love and respect this neighborhood. So of course I'm going to pick something up like that. There are so many things that we don't think about what the source is behind what we're doing. We just do them automatically, which is also wonderful. But to pay attention to, I'm actually expressing love when I do that. I'm expressing love when I do this. Because we're all doing so many things for love. So many things we do for love. We get a good night's sleep, don't we? We try. We're honoring our bodies. There's self-love as well. Self-care, self-love. We get up, we wash our face, we brush our teeth. We want to take care of our physical body. We eat healthy food. That is self-love. We leave the house. We wave to our neighbors. We wave to a stranger. We're walking around. We make eye contact. That desire to connect and be willing to connect, even if they don't say hello back, doesn't matter. It's love. It's all love, the things that you do. You might see a little something that you pick up for a friend. You text them. You call them. Those are all actions. Those are all things that we do for love. Plogging. We plogged on Friday. How is picking up trash love? I'm telling you, it is. Absolutely. A lot of you have gone plogging. I don't know why. I love doing it. I'm up early anyway. They provide everything for you, and they do it every Friday morning from 8 to 9 somewhere in Key West. You can go on their website and see where they're going to be next. They'll give you gloves, too hot. I don't wear the gloves, but you get a bucket and connected to it. It's a little bucket. Then you get this really cool, like picky-uppy thing that's got a magnet on the end. You don't touch anything. The little bucket are for the cigarette waste that you pick up and put in there. So I was talking to a young lady who was plogging for the first time, and I was telling her how I approach this. I'm not disgusted by what I find. I'm doing it out of love for my community, the community at large. And I was telling her, I said, and when I find that end of the cigarette right there by a drain, I say to myself, I am the last barrier between you and the ocean. Get it, put it in my bucket. I promise you, I only say that to myself. I don't say it out loud to the trash. But I feel good about it. I truly do. I feel good about it. Because I do love this island. I love the ocean. And I don't want trash in it. The sand sculpture that we did was absolute love. And because we love to hang out together, and it's wonderful to be outside, and it was a beautiful day. And there were 7 of us that created the double heart. And it was funny, I wasn't sure who was going to join me. I thought, well, I could be the only one. Who knows? So the heart that I drew was not that big. Then people kept coming. And Lori's like, well, let's do a shadow. Let's make 2 hearts. It was absolutely perfect. And I love that when Kevin and Robin and Beth went back last night to collect any shells that weren't picked up, that they found those footsteps in the middle. Because that's one of the things I like to do after we make our sand sculptures, is sometimes I'll sit in the car and I'll watch people do their selfies, they're happy, they walk up to it. And we enjoyed, as we were making it, talking to people that were coming and going and commenting. And these are all things that are done out of love. They're done out of love. Even our board meeting last week, or our finance team meeting, it's all love. It truly is. It truly, truly is. So how many things do you think that you do for love? It's absolutely countless. Countless the things that you do for love. But when we are aware that love is behind what we're doing, it lifts our hearts. It fills us with joy. It makes us feel lighter and brighter to shine our light anymore. So I invite you this week to consider what are some of the things that you do for love, that you're doing with love behind it. And do more of that and recognize it more each time, whatever it is. Picking up a piece of trash, giving, a bird. What do I see? I see a guy on his bike running around here throwing food out for the chickens. It's for love. It's all for love. And we as a community, we use this love one another as our North Star. Not only on Sunday mornings, but in our activities and our events, our rituals. Last year we did the blessing of the animals for the second year out in front of the Wildlife Center. I lost count. I blessed between 400 and 500 animals that week. I went to the Humane Society and a volunteer took me around. I blessed all the animals there. I went to the zoo at the jail. We invited people to send in pictures and names. And then people brought their animals, and they brought pictures and names. And I came back here and went through the computer with everyone who had sent us anything and sat and blessed the animals. That's an act of love that we did that day. The Easter sunrise service, where we schlep our equipment out to the beach at dark 30 and set up. We had 150 people join us last Easter on the beach. Last year we did we took our burning bowl ceremony and we transformed it into a dissolving bowl because they wouldn't let us have fire at the beach. A dissolving bowl. Remember when the monks were here and we did that? It was all out of love. And this year we're going to find a way to adapt the white stone ceremony and do that out at the beach. And perhaps combine those two things. Take us, take our love, take our heart, take our message beyond our walls. Be what we believe in everyday life. Share who you are as beautiful expression of the divine that only you can express with your personality and your gifts and you being you as you live and move and have your being. And we have so many wonderful spiritual tools that help us overcome the human condition, which is not all that easy. Help us overcome the human condition, because we're human and divine, and help us move into the divine. And this morning, Mary Ann Davis is going to bring us a reminder of one of our tools that we've spoken about many times before. It's an ancient Hawaiian practice called Ho'oponopono. She's going to remind us of that practice and the power of that practice. Mary Ann.
Okay, good morning. Am I on? Okay, great. How many of you are familiar with Ho'oponopono? Several of you are. But I want to bring it into everyone's awareness. As Daybree indicated, it is an ancient Hawaiian spiritual practice, and it's a spiritual practice of forgiveness. And it came about with the ancient Hawaiians, where in their villages, when someone wasn't acting, shall we say, or behaving as they thought appropriate, they brought that person into a circle and they performed this spiritual practice, or did this spiritual practice. Now, this spiritual practice was based on this philosophy. First, ho'oponopono means to set right, to correct, to put back in order. But this is based on the principle that if something comes into your conscious existence, conscious awareness, it is something deep inside of you that participated in it being in your conscious awareness. And it is based on a chant. The actual practice is chanting 4 lines. And the chant, the 4 lines are, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Now, when the elders of the village called in this person to be in the circle, they didn't expect that person to chant. They chanted. Because what they were saying to that person, it's not that the elders did anything wrong. They didn't make a mistake. They didn't participate in the behavior that wasn't contributory to the village. But what they were doing was recognizing somewhere in their subconscious or in their inherited beliefs or somewhere in their paying an awareness to an unacceptable behavior. That was there for them. And they were cleansing themselves of whatever part of them helped them experience in a conscious way this particular unacceptable behavior. So it was the elders who chanted to the person that had the behaviors no one liked. They said, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. And what that does is clear in them. And as we practice it, clears in us any of the behaviors or any of the thought processes. And if you are the one practicing it towards someone else, you haven't done something wrong. You're not asking for forgiveness for having done something wrong. What you are asking is forgiveness from the divine for being part of the awareness. You know, in quantum physics, the whole concept of focusing on something or becoming aware of it, focusing an awareness on it, as Deepak Chopra does, blinks it into existence. There are things that don't exist until awareness focuses on them. And whether that is a subconscious awareness or whether that is a conscious awareness. And that is where this practice, we are asking forgiveness of the divine to help us rid ourselves of that limiting thought. It isn't even a conscious belief 90% of the time. We don't think out loud this awful stuff. But what happens when this shows up is, first of all, we either get angry or we get fearful or we get upset. Now, how many times has anger or fear or worse, hate, ever cured that situation? Ever? Never. You can't care with fear. Fear is not a cure for caring. And because you are willing to take this on as wanting to clear it for yourself, you are doing this in love. This is a profound thing of a thing we do in love. And we do it for ourselves. We can do it for our friends and family. How many times have we been upset with a member of our family? And in recent weeks, with the political things that have taken place, there are families torn asunder by being upset with their family member for their particular beliefs or particular voting practices. Do we think we're going to heal by hating that person? Do we think we're going to heal by harboring rage and anger? It doesn't mean you don't care to give up the rage and anger. It means you care so profoundly that you will do it for love. You care so profoundly that you will participate in the cure. And whatever we are afraid of as we go forward can be mitigated, but only mitigated when we come from a place of love and a willingness to relinquish our fear and anger, however justified we feel in that fear and anger. Now, keep in mind, again, this does not mean you have done something wrong. But what we have to do, and it doesn't mean we are saying we're okay with behaviors and approaches and philosophies. It doesn't say we don't care about those. We do care. And so approach it from that standpoint of willingness to practice this. Again, it's 4 simple lines that we chant. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, God, or please forgive me, this divine presence, for whatever lurks in my subconscious that contributed to this. I thank you. I thank you for the opportunity to release this. And I love you. I love you. And you're really saying I love you to yourself, to your friends and family, to our community, and profoundly now to our nation. And on Wednesday evening at 5:30, right here, I'm going to lead a healing circle. And we are going to get deep into this Ho'oponopono practice. And for anyone who feels any need to release any pain, and regardless of what your political beliefs are, even if you might have different ones than me, you might still be suffering even if you like the outcome of the election because someone in your family's upset with you. Or some neighbors are upset, or friends are upset, and they're holding you in anger. You deserve to be healed. We all deserve to be healed. And we have the power to heal this entire country and its division. And one thing I want to point out as we think about all these things, one thing I came to understand, because I started practicing this almost immediately, when I felt myself sinking into very negative feelings about what had transpired. And what this does, it frees you up to see where the good is happening. And when you can see something good, you can build on it. And what I came to understand in those 24 to 48 hours after the election was we were given a great gift. We were given back the peaceful transfer of power in a democracy. We did not have that 4 years ago. We have it now. We were given back confidence in the electoral process. We don't have the President of the United States standing up there saying the election was rigged. And in not having that. We are giving back the ability for people to be election workers and feel safe again. Now, however that came about, we might not like the way those gifts came about, but they're gifts. And if we can start with gratitude for those gifts, because there are gifts in every situation, however difficult it is, if we can start there, then we can start to move past fear, and we can do this for love. And you know the greatest love of all is learning to love yourself, and you can give yourself this gift and do this in love, and do it in love for everybody in this country, regardless of their beliefs, and honor them because they are divine beings, just as you are. Join me Wednesday evening. Thank you.
And if you are unable to join Marianne this week, you might be so attracted to this practice that you decide that every day at 1:11 or 11:11 or 2:22 or 3:33, whatever sparks for you, that you're going to do this practice. Those 4 simple lines. What a gift. What a gift. And thank you, Marianne, for the reminder. We are truly, truly blessed.